When was the last time you picked up a cosmetic product at the store and looked for a bunny on the package? It is no secret that many individuals purposely seek out cosmetic products that possess a leaping bunny symbol, or boycott companies that test on animals. In addition, many vaccines that you have received went through extensive animal testing to ensure they were safe for human use. This may be a shock to you, but animal testing for cosmetic and biomedical advances is still very prevalent in society. What has not changed about it is just how moral and necessary it is. Today I will discuss the necessity and morality of animal testing for both cosmetic and medical purposes. In many ways, animal testing has provided the opportunity for biomedical advances that benefit humans. On the other hand, animal testing for something such as cosmetics is looked at through more of an ethical moral lens, as it risks the health and safety of animals for superficial products. With the extensive technology and resources we have in our modern world, questioning the need for animal testing becomes more apparent. We must consider the morality of animal testing, especially if it is necessary, and if it is not necessary, can we as a society accept it may be immoral? This is a rather complex ethical dilemma, as some would consider the benefits too great to stop animal testing. On the contrary, the animals being utilized lack the basic necessities in their environment to maintain an acceptable quality of life, which is a moral issue. I myself have worked with dogs that are utilized for animal testing, and I have done excessive research on brands that still utilize animals for cosmetic testing. The opportunity I had to work alongside a team of veterinary professionals and staff at the facility was extremely eye-opening. Not only were the dogs part of incredible studies that could change human lives, but they were incredibly loved by everyone. While their conditions were less than ideal, they were provided the best possible care to ensure their needs were met. This presented a dilemma in my mind, one that is likely running through yours as I present this information. In my findings about cosmetic testing, it was revealed that there are many viable alternatives to testing, which is why many have deemed it unnecessary and immoral. The continuation of animal testing for cosmetic and medical reasons negatively impacts the animal's quality of life and may even steal it from them. Large cosmetic corporations should find alternatives to test their products, and medical testing on animals should be heavily regulated by law nationally to ensure animals are receiving proper welfare given their environment. Starting in January 2024, the Animal Welfare Act, which was instated in 1966, will be strongly enforced by increasing how regularly we are sending federally qualified inspectors to facilities. Choosing alternatives to animal testing will improve the credibility of the corporation, and heavily regulated animal testing by law to prioritize the 5 freedoms will ensure the only testing done is out of necessity, as these conditions are not easy to maintain. So why worry about the necessity and morality of animal testing if it benefits society? The significance of this issue in society may seem minute to the naked eye, but when we dig into research done on animal testing, the problem may begin to surface. Not only does animal testing harm the animal itself, but it may even harm humans due to its unreliability. The collective harms and costs to humans from animal experimentation outweigh potential benefits, and that resources would be better invested in developing human-based animal testing methods. Animal testing for medical purposes presents misleading information that can have adverse effects. Not only is this kind of testing immoral for the human being harmed and the animal involved, but it also seems quite wrong. Just as we humans have rights, it is believed that animals have a modified version of these rights exemplified in the 5 freedoms. The 5 freedoms are globally recognized as the gold standard in animal welfare, encompassing both the mental and physical well-being of animals. They include freedom from hunger and thirst, freedom from discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, and disease, freedom to express normal and natural behavior, and freedom from fear and distress. Understanding the benefit of human and animal testing has been arguably a reason to adhere to positive animal treatment. If animals are not well treated, the science and knowledge they produce is not trustworthy and cannot be replicated. So as we can see, information is required to ensure the metaphorical line between ethical and unethical is not crossed, and that benefit is outweighing the harm of animal testing. A large part of the issue is that these suggested alternatives to animal testing are not favored by the FDA. Although the legislation allows the agency to clear a drug for human trials without animal testing, it doesn't require that it does so. What's more, FDA's toxicologists are famously conservative, preferring animal tests in part because they allow examination of potential drugs' toxic effects in every organ after the animal is euthanized. It may be that we are not completely ready to phase out animal testing entirely. What would society look like without cosmetic and medical animal testing? Is removing non-human testing the best choice for biomedical science? These are all questions surrounding the FDA's decision. And what should we do moving forward? The FDA no longer requires animal testing before the start of human drug trial, which provides a stepping stone for the plan I'm going to present. With the fact that Congress has passed the FDA Modernization Act 2.0, which no longer requires new drugs to undergo animal testing before human trials. We are able to, within the next year, experiment with alternatives such as AI and cell-based assessments to determine what viable alternative will replace animal testing. The FDA's Modernization Act 2.0, coupled with the increased use of federal inspectors at facilities in 2024, will begin to mitigate this issue. I plan within the next 3 years to move entirely to AI and cell-based testing for cosmetic and medical advances. In the meantime, inspectors will continue to regulate facilities that are using animal testing. In order for this plan to happen, Congress, alongside the FDA, would have to pass into law that non-human testing is strictly limited to AI and cell-based research. This would mean all the necessary testing and research is done to prove animal testing is immoral and unnecessary, given how advanced our society is. As far as funding goes, it's estimated that the National Institute of Health spends some $14.5 billion per year of taxpayer dollars on animal experimentation. With this change implemented by Congress and the FDA, we would continue to utilize taxpayer dollars with an upward cost of $20 million due to the nature of testing alternatives. Within the next presidential election of 2024, we can begin work on codifying this into law. It is reasonable to say that in the closing months of 2023, we can implement stricter inspections within this country as animal testing is still ongoing. While this is going to be a lengthy process, beginning research on alternatives in 2024 is reasonable. The FDA, as well as our local lawmakers, will be responsible for upholding this new standard. The individuals who work in facilities will be responsible for upholding expectations in between inspections. Now that we have an understanding of the ethical dilemma that animal testing presents and a plan to solve it, let's dive into practicality. While my plan for animal testing alternatives is new in the United States, other countries have already begun their initiative. Denmark, Brazil, Germany, Switzerland, Australia, China, and Korea also have research programs for developing alternative technologies. Not only is this a step in the right direction for solving a larger problem, but it has been initiated in countries all across the world, which proves it's doable. The European Union is known for its strict bans on cosmetic animal testing, which can serve as an example of the success of my plan. If you personally sitting in this room have been pondering your opinion on this dilemma, even in the slightest, then you will benefit from this change in policy. This would mean there is no question on if your products test on animals, or if you should boycott a specific company. Quite possibly the biggest counter-argument is that animals are the closest in DNA to humans, and provide the most accurate result for non-human testing. This means any alternative may not come close to the biomedical advances made by animal testing. The biggest reason individuals are concerned with animal testing as a whole is that the treatment of the animals is in question. However, there have been many industry professionals that ensure public all care and safety measures are being met. While the animals are being intentionally harmed, they do their best to maintain a safe and healthy environment while they can. Welfare is the utmost concern of testing facilities, so this should not be the sole reason to switch to AI and cell-based research. However, we have seen in the information I have presented to you today that animal testing is not only often inaccurate, but is unreliable, and it may result in harm of humans. While it is understood welfare is at the forefront of researchers' priorities, the 5 freedoms are not being met to their full capacity. While animals may be free from hunger and thirst, they are still experiencing pain and discomfort. With my plan, we remove the public's worry over poor welfare as we begin utilizing technology that cannot experience pain and discomfort. As much as we do not want to accept it, we are in the beginning stages of AI revolutionizing society, and with some improvements, it can provide extremely accurate results, as opposed to non-human testing. I want us to return to the question I posed at the beginning of this. Why should we care about the morality and necessity of animal testing? If you still sit unbothered by this issue, it is likely the person next to you is bothered by it. Even if you are not bothered, solving ethical dilemmas improves the quality of life for all citizens. Besides, each of us has a desire to love and lessen pain for humans and creatures alike, so why not choose an alternative that accomplishes both? My new policy is a solution our society has been screaming for. Taxpaying dollars going towards something that is not only more moral, but it completely eradicates the worry of necessity. With advanced technological alternatives, we no longer have to worry about reliability. In order for this plan to catapult into action, we must urge lawmakers to consider the possibility of alternatives. Only then will we see true change like other countries have experienced. We have the opportunity in the next election to elect an official that will make this happen. Sparking this new policy by insisting inspectors are regulating facilities thoroughly and more regularly until we switch to an alternative will give peace of mind to the public. This is a slow process, but mitigating existing facilities is the first step. Once we are able to fund and set the plan in motion, we can phase out inspections and begin utilizing alternatives. We have seen countries do something similar, which proves it's a practical plan. Accepting that alternatives to animal testing are the solution to questioning its morality and necessity is the first step to cultivating an ethical society. Now I have some questions for you guys. All right. Do you think that an alternative to animal testing will be as accurate as the use of animals?
I think it can be. I think if you do enough research, and I think if there's enough planning behind it, I think it can be. I think we've advanced in so many other areas, scientifically and technologically, that it's possible, especially when you can replicate cells in a petri dish, and then you can then treat those with potential vaccines. I think there's a lot of potential. Yeah.
I agree.
Perfect. Given the plan is to use taxpayer dollars for funding, is this something that will be widely accepted, or do you think there's going to be some pushback?
I think there's going to be some pushback. Yeah, I think there's a lot of pushback anytime you try to make any change with taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Especially because the system works right now.
Right. And then, is this ethical dilemma serious enough to you that you would want this plan to go into effect within the next presidential election?
Yes.
I would say yes.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.